Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to start by looking at the order of operations. So starting with question 1, you deal with the bracket first. 80 divided by 8, and that's 10. Then you bring down the times 4 and divide by 1. Now after dealing with the bracket first, then according to BODMAS, division comes before multiplication. So 4 divided by 1 is 4. And then you have 10 times 4. And the answer is 40. And then 1b. So again, we'll do the bracket first. 2 times 5 is 10. And then we'll bring down the other numbers. And plus 9, and then they're all additions anyway, so you just add them all together. 10 add 10 is 20. 20 plus 9, and that's 29. For 2a, bracket first again. 5 times 2, that's 10, and times, you have your 6. So we're basically bringing down everything else after dealing with the bracket. Now, in this case, what you can do is to take a look at this and treat it as one element, because there are two possible ways to this one. So, just a second, sorry, I'm just trying to fiddle with my lighting here. Okay, so if we follow the BODMAS basically, so multiplication will come before the addition. So 6 times 10 is 60, and then plus, you bring down that 6, and then 6 plus 60 is 66. So to be honest with you, we are strictly following the BODMAS rule here, and BODMAS is where you have B for bracket, O for order, D for division, M for multiplication, A for addition, and S for subtraction. Okay, so in here we have about two things happening in the bracket. So even though we deal with bracket first, we have to still follow the BODMAS rule here. So we know that division comes before multiplication. But in this case, there's going to be a slight difference. So we deal with this first. 3 times 4, we have 12. So this is still the bracket. And then divided by 2. So we'll bring down everything else. Now we have 7 plus 12 divided by 2, and that's 6. And then 7 plus 6, and we have 13. So our final answer for that one is 13. And then for question 3a, 5 times 6, that is 30. And then we bring down the negative 10, so minus 10, close the bracket. Don't forget we have a 7 times on the outside. So 30 minus 10, that's 20. So 7 times 20, so 140. So we have 140 as our final answer. So here, again, we'll deal with the bracket first. 1 minus 1, that's 0. And bring down, divided by 8 divided by 54. Now, because this is 0 here, so it does not matter what's happening on this side. 0 divided by 8 is just 0. And then 0 divided by 54 is just 0. So whatever the case may be, because this is division, or even if it had been multiplication, you still end up with a 0. Okay. So 0 is a very I sometimes like to call it a naughty number. Okay, here we don't have a bracket, but we can still make it work. So I'm just going to do this and put a bracket there. So I'll deal, the purpose of putting that bracket is just to help me solve it in little chunks. So the idea about BODMAS is solving in little chunks. So one step at a time. So 10 times 2, we have 20. 2 times 5, and that is 10. If we add that together, oh, wrong. That there is 2 add 5. You can see how easy it is to get it wrong when you make an error. Okay, so I'm just going to clean off that 10. That is not meant to be 2 times 5. That is meant to be 2 plus 5. Pardon me. So 2 plus 5, that's 7. And 7 plus 20, that is 27. Okay, so on to 4b. Now let's look at the bracket first. Again, always, if there's a bracket, just deal with that first. 6 minus 2, that is 4. Then you bring down the other signs and other numbers, everything else exactly as they were up there. And then now we can do 7 times 2, 14. And then 14 times 4, and you will get your 54. But you could also do 4 times 2, 8. Okay, now I'm mixing things up. So let's do it slowly, one step at a time. So I'll do this side first. You can see how important it is to use the bracket to help you do in little chunks, because even I am getting things mixed up. 2 times 4 is 8. Then you bring down your 7 times. So 7 times 8, 56. Now that's a lot better. So remember, using brackets or doing it in little chunks makes it less confusing, or you have less chance of making errors. Not all of us have brains that magnet numbers, so you don't need it anyway. Just do it one chunk at a time. Okay, so we've got a bracket here again. 4 times 6, and that's 24. And then we can do that bit first. So I could just introduce a bracket in there. 4 times 6, 24. We put an addition sign there. And then 24 add 24, and we've got 48. And finally, again, we've got this bracket here. So we're going to deal with the bracket first. 2 times 8, and that is 16. Then we can bring down everything else as they are. So we've got a times there. That times comes down here. And then we've got a 3. We've got a negative there. Bring it down here, and 3. Now, because multiplication comes before subtraction, so we're going to do 3 times 16 first. Okay. So 3 times 16 is 48. Then you bring down the negative 3. So 48 subtract 3, and that gives us 45. Okay, so that marks the end of our order of operations 1. Thank you.